Against the backdrop of the distressing news that has been coming out of China, particularly with the treatment of Black Africans and the possible second wave of the COVID-19 crisis, I have really been thinking about this, particularly the state of Black people the world over and the state of Black immigrants. And the question that's been on my mind is this: who exactly is a good immigrant? Is it when you marry the locals, or you eat the food, or you integrate completely and learn the language? When are you considered a good immigrant, or when do you become accepted and acceptable in the society? Let's talk about this. Hi YouTube fam, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Victoria if you're new here, and if you're not new yet, thank you very much once again for coming back. Please kindly subscribe to this channel. We talk about all things African, all things academic, and all things diasporan. I currently live in Germany, and I'll be producing content around these issues. Kindly stick around. Today, I'll be talking about something that is very dear to my heart. In the past couple of days, some news has been coming out. I've been coming out of China about the treatment of Black Africans in China. I hear also that Blacks from other parts of the world are receiving a slightly better treatment, which is on its own very insane, but we'll talk about it. But Black Africans are being treated very badly according to reports that are coming out of China, which also at the moment are quite difficult to verify because of a possible second wave of the COVID-19 crisis. Now, this, like I said, brought up so many questions in my heart, and also brought up other issues that I've been thinking about, which are the issues around being an immigrant. I am an immigrant myself in Germany. I am studying my PhD in international criminal law. My family is here now. I have many friends from across the world, and we receive varying reactions and varying treatments depending on who we are interfacing with in the German society. I also have friends who are immigrants in different parts of the world, in North America, in Asia, in Africa, in other parts of Africa. And the treatment of immigrants generally can be quite worrisome. So today, I would like to raise issues around this topic. When do you consider a person a good immigrant? When is this person accepted in the society? And if something goes wrong, for example, like looks to be happening in China at the moment, when is that person not singled out as an immigrant anymore, but treated as a local? Is such a thing even possible? Well, according to Merriam-Webster, the word immigrant means somebody who comes to another country to take up permanent residence there. And this comes from the root word migrare, which means somebody who moves from one place to the other. It's a Latin word. Now, the conversation, which is quite popular, I must say, around who is an immigrant and who is an expat, which many times seem to be broadly broken down into whether you're white or you're not, is a different conversation entirely. And maybe we will get to that one of these days. However, today, my focus is really on what makes a person a good immigrant. I am in Germany. I am Nigerian, Black African, as Black as they come. What would make me potentially a better immigrant than somebody else? And when exactly do the actions of my compatriots, people from my country or my continent, stop influencing how I am treated? So the first thing I'd like to talk about is really the ongoing situation of the otherization of the Black African immigrants in China. This is important to me because the origin of the whole situation is a bit hazy, but the impression you get is that some people, a few Black Africans, may have behaved badly. However, the entire group of Black Africans in some of these communities are now being authorized and being treated badly. And when you have been in a place, for example, for more than 10 years, for 15, for 20 years, When do you become a part of that society, an integral part of that society, and you stop being viewed as somebody else? Is it when you buy properties there? If you're allowed to buy properties there, because there are some countries that do not even allow people from other countries to buy properties there. Is it when you have businesses? If you have businesses in these countries and you pay your tax and you work there and you're a law-abiding citizen, are you then respected as somebody from outside? Is it when you learn the language? I have a very interesting example with this one. In Germany, you find Black Africans and people from across the world who live here learn the language, and sometimes they speak, and some locals say that their accent is still, it makes them difficult to understand. I've had this happen around me once or twice before, and I found it very interesting as somebody who's trying very hard to learn a tough language like German, and then somebody still says your accent is showing through. There was a very high-level government meeting I went for, and there was this gentleman who seemed to be from somewhere in East Africa who was in that meeting, but had lived in Germany for more than between 25 to 30 years, if I remember correctly. This gentleman stood up, asked the question, and after he finished asking the question and sat down, the next person who picked up the mic after him and was to address the question, the first thing he said was, "Oh, I hear you're German, it's very good, but where exactly are you from? I could hear an accent." And in my mind, I was like, this man just spoke flawless German to me as far as I was concerned. But the fact that he's Black, he had to be from somewhere else, which, well, is not entirely inconceivable, but his German also had to have some accent. And then that was the thing that was pointed out first, without even initially speaking about the brilliance of his question and how central to the discussion his question was. So you have this kind of situation, somebody strives and tries very hard and learns the language and speaks, damn near perfect, and then somebody says, "Oh, you have an accent." When exactly are you respected as somebody who is making an effort? People also talk about respecting local custom, and I completely agree with that. You have to respect local custom. You have to learn the history of the people that you're living, of the country where you're living, and you have to respect the custom of the place. This is why, since I came to Germany, I had to learn, apart from the language, nuances of the culture. How do people interact in public? How do they talk to each other? How do they greet? Do you greet? When do you greet? What sort of thing do you say to people when you meet them in the street? So you have to learn all of these things. But when you learn these things as well, how do you interface with your own culture? For example, people join national associations. You have the Egbe Omo Yoruba, you have the Indigo associations. In the diaspora, you have Nigerians in diaspora associations and all of these things. But when you gather around and you have maybe national days and you dress in your costume or your dresses from your country, now some people say, "Oh, these people they have not integrated well because they are only gathering in their small groups. They are not gathering, they are always looking for each other." Or no, they are only eating their own food. They don't want to eat something that is local to the society where they are living. So you have this two-sidedness, and I feel like a lot of immigrants find themselves in the middle somewhere, and they are not balanced. They are unable to find a balance because they are in this new environment where they want to belong. However, they are themselves. They've come many times. Some of us have come as adults. We come from a background and a culture that is very strong, and we are who we are. But we make the effort to learn the language, to eat the food, to understand the nuances of the culture. But people do not appreciate the efforts. And if anything goes wrong with one person, suddenly all of you are responsible. So maybe this is some kind of mini rant, and I would like to hear the experiences of people in the different countries where they're living. What exactly do you think that one can do, or what would make a person become, these immigrants that can be accepted in the society? There are a number of people of African descent who are now in the German Bundestag, who are now representatives in their different states, parliaments. But these people are few and far in between, and daily they face a lot of racism. They face a lot of terrible things that a lot of white people or Germans cannot relate with, some of the terrible things that they face. And these are people who have gotten to the very peak that you can imagine as immigrants in Germany. Some of them, you know, their parents were the one that came here. You still have children of people who came to Germany, who some of these children have been born here, have grown up here, speak the language just like any other German would. The only cultural context they understand is the German cultural context. But because they are black or they are brown, people still ask them where they're from. So in this instance for me, and it's the question of what exactly can one do? What makes one acceptable? Like what is going on in China right now? What makes people no longer being treated as others? Even when they have married locals, when they've done everything to prove that they are good people. And I'm not talking about people who are not law-abiding, who break the law, who do shady businesses. No, I'm not talking about such people. I believe that the law can take care of such people. But for regular, schmegular people in the societies who live in other countries, who have been there for a long time, and who have been making a life, contributing to the society, how can we say, or what can we do, what can they do to become so-called good immigrants, if there's such a thing? What do you think? If you live in a country other than your own, how have you been dealing with this situation? What makes a good immigrant? Do you consider yourself a good immigrant? If you are, is it because you married a local, or you have children, or you speak the language? How do you deal with it? Let's talk about it in the comment section. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Thank you very much. Did you enjoy this video? Please don't leave without subscribing. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.